Divers exploring a 2,300-year-old ancient pyramid have found the underwater tomb of a powerful pharaoh. The water looks so beautiful from afar, but it explodes the mysteries when we go deep into it. This is what today's discovery is about: a lead to a kingdom, a pyramid long lost in Sudan. Hello, and welcome back to the Abandoned Archaeologist again, the channel to learn all about ancient archaeological findings. Today, we will discuss the discovery of a 2,300-year-old pyramid that was found underwater, which was the kingdom of a powerful pharaoh. But before we begin, to get your attention, we have a question you can answer at the end of the video by watching it. What were the materials used by the Kush Kingdom? So, write down your answer in the comment section and see if you got it right. And here we begin with our video. In ancient times, a place called Kush was on the edge of history. It was a region of unknown breadth and depth located far up the Nile that was overshadowed by Egypt to the north and was a mystery bordering on myth. However, Kush had gold, which the Egyptians were aware of and noted. Scholars now know that the Kush culture was more complex than previously thought. The kingdom of Kush flourished for 5 centuries in the 2nd millennium BC, having the political and military prowess to maintain some control over a sizable territory in Africa. The success of Kush's rule would appear to be an anomaly, or traditional notions of statehood rely too heavily on the examples of ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China. In advance of the rising Nile waters, archaeologists are discovering some solutions, or at least fascinating insights, about this kingdom. Archaeologists claimed in earlier reports and interviews that they had discovered ample proof that the kingdom of Kush, which was dominant from 2000 BC to 1500 BC, controlled or at least had influence over a 750-mile stretch of the Nile Valley. And as per recent reports, archaeologists find the underwater tomb of a powerful pharaoh through their excavation. Kreisman provided information to the BBC at the beginning of July about his team's successful dive at Nori. He had initially travelled to the area in 2018 to evaluate the tomb dive's viability and decided to proceed. The stone coffin of Pharaoh Nastasen was closed and unaltered. However, Kreisman discovered evidence of gold leaf, pottery, and glass figurines in his tomb chambers. Shabtis, tiny figurines, are tasked with caring for the royals after death. Kreisman acknowledged that if it weren't for the tomb's inaccessibility due to rising water levels, thieves would have likely stolen the gold leaf over the years. The nearby River Nile had overflowed into the underground tombs. The team pumped oxygen from the surface using a hose. Then, the group started digging as far as they could down the 65 steps leading to the tomb's entrance. But after 40 steps, they hit the water and realized they would have to dive down to get there. It had 3 chambers, each with an elaborately carved archway ceiling. There were remnants of glass statues that had been covered in gold leaf, but the water had severely damaged the glass, leaving mostly gold flake, making them very brittle. What they could, the divers recovered and brought to the surface. These dives are crucial in illuminating more about the lifestyles of ancient civilizations. Since the Nori kingdom covered such a sizable area, it is thought that there are probably more underwater tomb sites in the area. This dive was the first of its kind in Sudan. Sudan and the Kingdom of Kush. Sudan, Egypt's neighbour to the south of the continent of Africa, holds the record for having the most intact pyramids. there are about 240 pyramids constructed by the ancient Kushite people in Sudan. Kush, also known as Nubia, was a kingdom in northeastern Africa that shared strong ties with ancient Egypt. It was situated in modern-day Sudan, just south of ancient Egypt. The White Nile and the Blue Nile, two of the Nile River's major tributaries, were where its major cities were located. Likely, humans would not have settled in this dry desert region without creating these waterways and their proximity to gold and iron ore deposits. Kush's kingdom ruled for more than 1,400 years. It was initially founded around 1070 BCE, when it separated from Egypt. Ancient Egypt was ruled by Kush from 727 BCE until the Assyrians arrived in the following century. The kingdom of Kush started to wane after the Roman Empire conquered Egypt, and it finally fell apart sometime in the 4th century CE. However, in many ways, the Kushites was very similar to the ancient Egyptians, including their shared religion, government system, and cultural characteristics. They worshipped Egyptian deities and buried their dead in pyramids after mummifying them. The priests, who led the religious community, were the highest class in Kush after the Pharaoh and other kings. Like their Egyptian neighbours, the Kushite people valued religion highly and had strong afterlife beliefs. Pyramids by the Kingdom of Kush or Kushites and Pharaoh Nastasen. The pyramids that the Kushite people erected to bury their pharaohs and other notable individuals resembled the structures from ancient Egypt. Another significant distinction was that, unlike the Egyptians, the Kush buried their dead beneath the pyramids, whereas the Egyptians' burial chambers were inside the pyramidal structure. The pharaoh Nastasen was one of these leaders interred in this case. From 335 to 310 BCE, he was king of the Kingdom of Kush. The few artifacts and writings found on stone tablets are the only sources of information we have about this Nubian king. According to the writings, Pharaoh Nastasen's victory over an invasion from Upper Egypt and the numerous spoils he amassed marked the pinnacle of his reign. Nastasen was the final Kushite king to be buried in the royal cemetery and necropolis at Napata after he died and entered the afterlife. A magnificent cemetery covering more than 7.5 million square feet. Karima in Sudan, a city about a mile west of the bank of the Nile River, serves as the location of the royal cemetery from the ancient city of Napata. An arc of about 20 pyramids constructed between 650 BCE and 300 BCE is one of its most striking features when viewed from above. However, there are more than 20 pyramids total on the property. Hundreds of other people are buried there, in addition to at least 60 Nubian kings and queens. Pharaoh Taharqa, who ruled over all of Egypt in the 7th century BCE, is the most well-known local. The Pharaoh Nastasen's 2,300-year-old pyramid tomb, the last of its kind, was built at one of the royal necropolis's lowest points of elevation and measures roughly 30 feet, 9.1 meters, tall. What do you think of the discovery of the underwater tomb of a powerful pharaoh? Let us know in the comments below, and the answer to the question we have asked is: the two most important or precious resources used by ancient Kush were iron and gold. Comment your views and subscribe to Abandoned Archaeologists for more such uploads. See you soon!